Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Mourning Tea. I genuinely hope that you're actually watching on YouTube right now because I have someone who I love, someone that I admire, that I just. Alex, welcome. Hi.
Thank you so much. I am excited to be here today. This is going to be so much fun. I'm a talker, so let's yap.
Fuck it. Let's yap because same. Same. So if you don't know Alex, his Instagram is AlexJDBeauty. He's very lovingly known in the community as KTip Daddy. At least that's what we call him in all of my classes. I love that.
Lovingly known as KTip Daddy, but if you didn't know, you can call me Alex.
They see you on the street and they're like, "Hey, Daddy." You're like, "Oh God."
And I'd be like, "Hey, son."
Hey. You're like, "Good boy," and they're walking away like, "I don't know what just happened, but I think I'm into it." Oh my God. So, Alex, if you don't know who he is, I feel like you should. Like, you need to just pause this, go follow him. Alex's work is immaculate. So, he actually clearly, as a KTip Daddy, specializes in KTips. And one of the reasons, so I took his class recently. My mind was fucking blown. That shit is immaculate. And I used to do KTips like, holy shit, like 10 years ago. What they were then is not what they are now.
Yeah.
Like, no. And I feel like you are not going to give yourself this type of credit, but I'm bold and I don't care, so I'm going to say it. I feel like you are honestly, the only maybe 1 to 2 people that I know that have been so consistent with KTips over the past decade, even when KTips were just getting shit all over. So
Yeah.
to me now, KTips are making a huge comeback. Like, they are back full force, full swing. And in my mind, you're the one leading that charge. Because not only have you done it for 15, 12, fucking 15 years or something.
A long time. Since I'm 9 years old.
Yeah, you're like, weird. I was born yesterday. I just
Since I was 17, I've been doing it since I was 3.
Wow. Yeah, and you're like, it's fine. I got this. And so
Yeah.
like, that's why to me, in my mind, you're the one leading this charge. Not only do you own a salon with some of the coolest rules, which I totally want to get into. You own an entire KTip salon. You have an entire staff. You're doing education with Payne Pixie, Christine Woods now. And all of your guys' shit for the year is fucking selling out. And I feel like now it's almost like back in a place where it was like, it was cool in the beginning. You were probably shit on for a majority of your career and you stuck with it. And now it's where like, oh shit, bell bottoms are cool again because Kendrick Lamar did it. Well, Alex said KTips are back, so they're back too. And like, that's how I feel.
KTips are bell bottoms and Alex is Kendrick Lamar.
And you know what? The obsession I currently have with him and that fucking Super Bowl like thing and the beef he has, I'm not gonna lie, it's all over my For You page on TikTok.
So I didn't know anything about it. I knew who Kendrick Lamar was because his music is in some of my reels, but I'm not like, my type of music is more like, I don't know, like Brit pop and like Owl City. So I was not like, I listen to music that has like little beats in it. That's all. That's what I listen to. Like Becky Food, dance music, dance hall type music. So I knew who Kendrick Lamar was, and then my interest was piqued because he won like every Grammy, and I was like, "Who is this man? Oh my God, he's going to be in the halftime show. Let me obviously pay close attention." And then I was like, "Okay, like this is good." And then I was like, "Okay, but where are those pants from?" And I was like, "Okay, they're Celine. I'm going to get them.
They're $1,500. They're very
They're $1,500." So I bought 3 pairs.
I love that. And you know what? The reason I think this beef is so fucking funny, because here is one of the reasons I'm going to liken you to fucking Kendrick Lamar right now, because I feel like he has won 22 Grammys in total. For his fucking, this diss track won 5 Grammys. It's in the Super Bowl. Even the like American Heart Association is like, hey, if you got to give someone CPR, give it to the beat of that song. And I'm like, I'm sorry, baby. You like Drake, you lost. I don't know what you do at this point. I don't know where you go from here, but brother, like that's not good. And so, I'm like, part of me feels like that's like you right now, that I know someone is going to look at your success, at everything you've done, and be like, Alex didn't do it. I did it. And it's like, well, then build a bigger brand and be better.
Yeah, so I feel like my training for becoming who I am today has started in kindergarten. When like, because I That's so good. My training for who I am today really did begin in kindergarten when like Alex was gonna wear what Alex was gonna wear, and Alex's parents were gonna support Alex wearing whatever he wanted, and everyone was gonna shit on Alex. And if Alex wore pink to school, everybody was gonna shit on Alex for wearing pink to school and torture me for weeks because I wore pink to school. And I was gonna do it again. Because if you want to shit on me for something, I'm gonna give you a reason to keep talking. I am not the first person to ever have done that. I will not be the last person to ever have done that. But I don't care if people say, think, and believe things about me that are not true. I don't want anyone to ever have misconceptions about me that are false, that are like negative, and I do my best to never have anyone have a negative impression of me. But if you have created a narrative in your head, then like I don't care because there's nothing I can do to prevent another person from having a perception of me or anyone else or anything else. Someone's perception of something is a reflection of their own thoughts and their own experiences, and I have no responsibility for that. So I learned that in literally kindergarten is like, if I decide to do this thing, wear this item, look this way, talk this way, walk this way, go to dance class, right? Like, I can't change if you are going to think that I'm a faggot. I can't change that. So if you're going to think that, I'm still going to do what makes me happy, right? And that was a theme through my whole life. And then even through becoming a hairdresser, right? Like that in itself is its own challenge. Especially growing up in like a suburban place that like people were going to think, say, and believe negative things about me. And I have to not care because in order to survive, I have to learn that your perception is on you. And then that also gives me an opportunity to look inward and say, my perception of things is also on me, right? I choose how I perceive other people. And if I'm perceiving other people negatively, like, why? Why do I care? And that has trained me to really heavily not care what other people do in a negative way. I care positively. I will clap for you. I will cheer for you. I will support you. I care what you're doing when I can be happy for you. And if you're not doing something that makes me want to clap for you, I'm just like, all right, I'm going to go do my thing over here.
Like, it's not my responsibility to come yell at you, like, or to scold you or tell you you're doing something wrong. I feel like the only time I get involved, it's like when it's social justice things where I'm like, oh, yeah, now we're being mean. I will clear my motherfucking schedule. Now I have time for this.
Yeah.
Now I will make time for this. But I completely agree with you on that. And also, I feel like educating in general is so hard. If you are not toughened enough to do it, don't do it.
Don't do it.
You have to be tough enough for someone to say, I don't like you. I don't know. I don't like what you did. I don't like how you teach. I don't like how you're doing it. I disagree with you. And if you're not tough enough to hear those things and not retaliate or like defend yourself really hard, don't be an educator ever.
Yep. Totally. Education is a totally different business. Like, I think that I started teaching probably 7 years ago, like my first little tiny classes. And I remember like having those feelings inside and having to deal with that when somebody would say like, well, why are you doing this? And not receiving that as an attack. Like to be able to look at something and not have that like oppositional defiant reaction. That's like, you're questioning me. This is not an attack. I'm going to now take this opportunity to, if I don't know, figure it out in my head real quick. And if I don't know, like, like that's not something that I ever thought of. Like, why don't you send me a text after class and we'll figure this out together? And so, through those 10 years of like, I started doing hair salons really heavily in like 2017, I would say, was when I really ramped it up. That's when I opened my own business. And before that, I had always been doing it on the side. Like, it was just always a side thing because salons were not extension friendly. They just were not. Like, if you were an extension stylist, you worked in your house. If you were an extension stylist, you worked in like a very high-end salon that nobody could ever go to because extensions were $25,000, right? And so it really is the truth. You had to work at like the Bergdorf Goodman salon, or you had to be the type of stylist that was flying around the world. There was no accessible extensions at the time. So when I started doing it here and there, I was like, oh, I really love to do these KTips. Like, this is the type of motion that I enjoy. This is something that I'm really good at. Because before that, I was like the king of a heavily weaved full head blonde foil where the only leave out was the weave out. And like what I did all day was like, how tiny can I make my foils? How close to the scalp can I make my foils? Kind of similar to like what Kim Haverly does now, where like, how many foils can I get in this fucking head in 3 hours, right? That was what I did. So transitioning from doing that full time to extensions full time was actually a really easy transition because the motion was the same, the type of clientele was the same. It's a very similar specialty in like a dexterity kind of reference.
Yeah.
So for 10 years when everybody was on the West bandwagon, and I was on it a little bit here and there, I just remember thinking to myself, like, I always did what made sense to me. And I'm not going to make this the exception. I'm going to offer this because business is business and pivoting is important. And like the person who has the most skill and is the most accessible is the one who gets the bag. And I'm the one who's going to get the bag every time. Like, I always say to people, I'm like, I want you to beat me. Like, I encourage you to beat me. Because if you beat me, you fucking won, motherfucker. Like, because I am going to come in earlier. I'm going to stay later. I'm going to fit more people in. I'm going to hire more assistants. I'm going to take a loan to buy hair at a lower price per gram. I'm going to do every fucking thing I need to do to win, but not to beat you. I don't want to beat you. I just want to win. Winning does not involve beating you, right? I say beat me in jest. I want you to win, and I want your winning to not mean I lose. And I want my winning to not mean you lose. So beat me, because I'm still winning.
Yeah. And I think that's the problem, though, especially like I won't even say in all of hair. I truly think it's only the extension world, which is kind of like sad and like a little bit pathetic in my eyes, where it's like, if I want to be the best, then I have to beat everybody. And it's like, that is so wildly incorrect. You are allowed to have two people at the utmost top of their game, and neither would be in competition with another. And I feel like Christine and I talk about that a lot because, if you don't know Christine, it's Christine Woods, Paint and Pixie on Instagram. You know, she has More Than a Method, which now you're into, you guys are doing together, have so much KTip education, which like so fucking cool. But like, I promote her on my platform, even though we are technically in direct competition with each other. But I've never viewed it that way. I've never viewed it like, if I say something nice about Christine, then all of my people are going to go and they're going to sign up for Christine and Alex's. And even like, I just did 3 classes in like 2 weeks. And in every single class, at least once, they were like, but what about a client with XYZ? And I'm a West girly. I will always love my West. Like, I'm a West baby. Like, those make me happy. But even I'm now learning KTips and adding them in. And I got some questions in class, every class, at least one question. And my answer was, Wefts might not be right for them. At that point, I would recommend go find Alex and Christine. This is the guy that you want. He's the one you want to learn from. I'm like, you might need KTips. Wefts might just not be the answer. And me saying that in class and pointing towards another educator and another competition, I don't view it as like, oh my God, they're taking money away from me. Because I can't teach someone every single thing that they would ever need to know in the hair world. So yes, go learn from someone else. Who gives a
And it only
shit?
makes you look better. You don't look worse because you've referred someone. You look more confident. You look more competent. You look as though you're directing somebody to the resource that they need to solve a specific problem. Like,
Yes.
I will tell people all the time, if you need to put an inappropriate amount of hair in somebody's head, K-tips are not for, that's not the gate. Like, if you need to give them that look, K-tips might not be it. It just might not be the solution for that particular client. Like, depending on what the client needs, and as hairstylists, I'm always very comfortable referring them to a different stylist too. Like, that's the same mindset. I will refer you to a different educator to get what you need out of education. I will refer a client to a different hairstylist to get what they need out of their hair service, out of their thousands of dollars. So that ethos as an educator works in the hairstylist. It works in anything.
Yes.
If this is the need and I am not the person to fill it, I am not taking your money. And that mindset about like in the extension community that we're referencing here, with that competition over collaboration, which we don't believe in clearly, I think that comes from that scarcity thought that like there are not enough clients. There are not enough clients. Like there's not a finite amount of clients. And I've been a victim of that before in my own business, where I'll have like a lull in January of new clients, because usually January is not like the new client time. It's just not. And I'll be like, have I read through every person who wants extensions in the world? Like, there can't possibly be another person. I service every single one. And I'll go in the spiral of anxiety, right? Great. Like, Have I done too good of a job? Have I ran through the demand? And then March comes and I'm like, no, of course not. Like we're back to 14 a week. But there's really not a finite amount of anything. There's not a finite amount of students because there are always people who will be graduating beauty school that will need education. If the beauty schools are out of business, then I might be scared, but they're not. So like there will always be new hairdressers. We will always need new hairdressers. People will always need more education. And that is what it is. There will always be more students. There will always be people, and I service mainly women, so I'll say women, who are turning 18, wanting hair extensions for college, graduating college, getting hair extensions as their gift, getting their first sign-on bonus, getting hair extensions as like there will always be more people who want to get hair extensions, right? So like we're not competing. My goal is to be seen by as many people as I possibly can, to cast as wide a net as I can in my client-facing business and my stylist-facing business. So anyone who resonates with me that I resonate back with can participate in whichever version of my brand that they need to participate in.
I love that. And it's so crazy. I just finished a class in St. Louis. One of the girls there, because I used to live in St. Louis for 15 years, one of the girls in my class, I did her extensions when she was 13 years old. She graduated cosmetology school a month ago, literally last month. And I saw her and I was like, oh my fucking God, this is crazy. But literally, people are graduating all the time. And I even had a stylist, Salmon, in my class. And we're like in the middle of class. I looked at her, I was like, aren't you launching your education this week? And it is extension education. And she's like, yes, on Friday. I was like, guys, you gotta follow her. She's amazing. In the middle of my class. Because her succeeding does not make me less. And I think that in general is something stylists have to acknowledge. And so I also have a question for you because, like I said, I did KTips a long time ago. They were ugly, but now they're going to be so much better. So how did it feel in that? I mean, I swear it had to be at least 8+ years where all I heard about KTips was that they're garbage, that it looks like you have sticky stuff in your hair, that it looks like shit, that they're cheap. And like, I can only imagine what it felt like for you hearing that, knowing, that's my entire business. The industry almost as a whole, like, turned its back on KTips for years. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, baby, about that, I'm just kidding. Like, how did that feel in that time where you were like, I gotta stick to my fucking guns because I know what I'm doing is right?
So it was really validating to me that I was able to build an over $1 million gross revenue business during a time when everyone is shitting on what I did. So it was kind of cool to be able to like really focus on client education. And I feel like I've heard this a lot of like Shark Tank and we talk about venture capital, that like, is this business an education play? Do we need to educate our consumer too much? And I look at that as a challenge. I'm like, I need to educate the consumer that what they think is right for them is wrong for them. And I really learned about consumer education and like, how can I tell people that KTips are amazing without telling them that wefts are bad, because I don't think wefts are bad. So focusing on my lane, just talking about myself, my ethos, and that was a really, really cool experience to do that for 8 years. And now for everyone to be hopping on and be like, wait a second, like this actually is what we need. This actually is what the clients want. This is able to serve more people. We can now cast a wider net and get more people onto the KTip train, because not just because we can make more money, and yes, we can make more money, but because we can service more people, solve more people's problems. So it's very, very validating. And I'm not going to say vindicating because I feel like that has that negative spin, but it's very validating to be able to say like, I stuck to the course. Because if we look at gram weight per square inch of scalp, this makes more sense for certain clients. This is easier for certain clients. And it's funny because I actually got into the social media hair extension game when wefts were taking off. Like 2016, 2017 is when we started to see the introduction into these like mainstream massive weft companies. And I remember a weft company that I was researching on YouTube, and I was like, why can I not find a single video of how they do this? And then I remember thinking to myself, and like, why can I never find a video of how this is done? And that also got me thinking about gatekeeping and how I don't believe in gatekeeping at all. Like everything that you can learn in my classes, I show on Instagram for free. I, in my classes, teach a much more in-depth version that you need to get in person, or you need to get in an in-depth format that's much more high definition that Instagram is just not well suited for. But like, I show everything all the time. So for the learner who's able to just look at Instagram and implement, you don't need to take one of my classes. Like you can just watch, right? I think that's like challenging and you miss some nuance, but like I believe in just giving shit away. So it's a funny kind of journey in that too. And I think that in just giving shit away, I've been able to attract lots of clients because I'm like, well, you show more than anybody else does. So obviously, if I'm going to spend $3,000, I'm spending $3,000 with you, not somebody who doesn't show their work. And I show how I do it and why I do it and my reasons for doing it. And that's also been one of the reasons why Christine and I have had such a profitable relationship with each other. Just set aside the amazing personal relationship, but the business relationship has been so good because we both have that same thought process. The more you give away, the more you receive, especially when the giving away is bona fide with no expectation of receiving, right? That thought process, it's a fruitful thought process for everyone involved.
Well, and I think that's something so important because obviously we both teach classes and you and I basically say the same thing at the beginning of every class because I do come from that weft world, that beaded row world that can be very aggressive. There's a lot of NDAs. There's a lot of do not show your beadwork, do not show your stitching, do not teach your assistant. Your assistant can't help you to stitch. They have to take the class. It is so psychotically aggressive. And I have been a part of that problem. I'm never going to stand there and be like, oh my God, it's crazy. Everybody else has said that. I said that. I work for companies that did that. Do you know what I mean? Like I was a part of the problem. But now to me, it's so important because it's such, to me, wild behavior to say, thank you so much for paying me $1,500 to come learn my method. Now you need to tag me in everything you do, but don't show the beadwork. Don't show the stitching. Don't. And I'm like, damn. I paid to learn this. What the fuck do you mean now? I don't have the ability and the freedom to go market myself how I want. And you want me to put you in my profile, change my name to be about you, put you on my website, but what am I getting out of this? And to me, that's so insane. And I tell every student, you don't owe me shit, bitch. Like you paid to be here. When you leave, go promote yourself. If you want to tag me, I would literally love that. And I will always repost it and be so grateful, but you are not indebted to me.
So I think that I have a thought process on why, as hairstylists, we like to do that. And I think I learned this when I was getting my business degree. I think that people have a desire in fields where we are not heavily respected by academia. We want letters after our name. Like, I think that like we see a lawyer and we address them on our wedding invitation when you're addressing them as ESQ. When we address a doctor, they are Dr. and Mr., Dr. and Mrs. That person gets a designation. And when I got my business degree, I love to talk about it. When I got my business degree, with a focus in accounting and law, I love to talk about it because I feel as though it's a point of pride for me that I completed this course of study. Yeah. And I love to say, Alex Denaro, BS, BSA? I forget what it is.
Like, I don't even know my letters anymore.
I think it's a BS. I think it's a Bachelor's in Science in Business Administration with a focus in law with a certification in accounting. I think, although I won't lie, I don't think I completed the certification in accounting, but I have the credit. I did like a little post-grad stuff. So I like to say that because it's a point of pride for me. I completed a course of study and I like to talk about that. And I feel like the extension field had kind of co-opted that thought process of like, well, if we let people complete a course of study, they're going to put these 3 letters after their name. And that is not the same. When I complete, it's not the same. It's not the same for different reasons. Because you don't like, it's not the same. Because completing a hair extension education course is not the same as completing a course of study in a university. They're very, very different. I'm not saying one is further than the other, because completing a hair extension education course would be very, very hard for me. College was easy for me.
Fair.
So, like, putting ESQ after your name is very different than putting XXX, whatever extension day, because it's just different. But I think that we have this desire to belong to a course of study. And I think that that is what the more MDA-focused, contract-based education has been utilizing, is that human need to feel accomplishment and to feel belonging and to feel as though we have put ourselves above other people based on our academic success. And hairstylists oftentimes are told that we're not people that have academic success. I disagree with that, but I actually was told when I signed up for beauty school, I went to beauty school for free because my high school offered it. And I, as a high achieving academic student, was told not to go. I had to write an essay that said, why do you believe you can continue, you can go to beauty school and also complete your AP level and college level courses in your academic study? And I actually had to like full blown lay out to them how I was going to miss half the day in high school and still complete a semester of college in the afternoon in high school. And I did it. So I don't have that sense. I don't have that feeling of like wanting to be a part of it because I'm like, I have this other shit that I'm a part of. Like, I don't need to be.
You're like, I'm already smart as fuck. I don't give a shit about your stupid letters.
I'm smart as fuck. Like, yeah.
And I think it also comes down to like, because I think the hair world, yes, we are looked down upon, but in the extension world, it's even more aggressive. Like, it's honestly, some days, like, it's embarrassing, but I'm like, is this really how we're going to behave? Like, that's okay, but fine. But I also think it becomes a part of like, well, almost like they need to be a part of a community because they already feel alone. Maybe the salon they work at, they don't love, or they're a booth renter, or they're a suite renter, and they feel alone. And then a lot of these companies, they do a very great job of creating community. Now, whether that community is healthy or not is that's not this. I'm not going to even bring that up into it. The point is there is a community where they prop you up and they tell you, you're so great while you're there. You're so great. We love you. Your work is great. We got you. As long as you continue to pay that money and be a part of it, because I really like, other than my own, I cannot think of a single extension community and brand that will allow you to be a part of their community without paying more money. And I get it. It's a business. Like, do you? I support you. Get the money, baby. But like, that to me is why so many people do it, because they're like, well, if I put those 3 letters or that name in my bio and I say this is what I do, they will accept me and I'm not going to be so alone. But to me, it's like, if we just kind of like take out that barrier and we open that door and realize that I don't care what method you do, like the method itself is inconsequential. You can still be great and you can have friends who, like, even when I was in your WEF class, or not WEF class, KTip class, and you were like, if you're going to mix WEFs and KTips, just do all KTips. And I'm like, yeah, I hear you. I probably won't do that though. I'll probably still do WEFs and KTips. But at no point am I sitting there like, fucking Alex, talking shit on Wes, who's talking shit on me. I'm just like, yeah, that's his opinion. And you know what? I love me some Wes and like KTips, because in my mind, I'm like, I can think of clients that would love both. But at no point am I like, he disagreed. Now we got beef. We don't fucking get along. I don't like him. Because it's not like that. You are allowed to have a difference of opinion and both of you still be right, and that's okay. And I think if the extension world were to see that a little bit more and accept it and stop living in a place of utter and complete scarcity of, well, so Alex is cooler, he has a bigger account, he's more successful, why should I even bother trying? What do you mean? Like, yes, you should still fucking try.
Everyone should try. The size of someone's account does not denote anything. Like, I have almost 100,000 followers on Instagram because of one reel that I got very, very lucky on that got like 56 million views. Like, it was one fucking reel. you look at my page and it's like, oh my God, look at this guy. Like, it was one thing. I won't lie. I'm very transparent. I will not lie to you. It is not like I had this. It was overnight. I literally had 16,000 followers, and then 2 days later, I had 90,000. It was literally that fast. So yeah, it was bonkers. It was crazy. And that. So you look at these like things, these big accounts. It was the craziest experience. It like defies all social media logic. And the reel was very low quality, and I was like, I was waking up every hour with 1,000 followers. I was like, what the fuck? But it worked. But yeah, I think that like, I think the beautiful thing, what'd you say?
I would be obsessively checking because I'd be like, this is crazy.
I was counting that. I was like, I need to count. But I agree with you about the extended communities because like the thought process of like, if you're in or out, I think is so dumb because, or even like something that discourages you from getting out. Like something that prevents you from getting out. That's the biggest more than a method to me is that let's like come as you are and leave when you want. Like, there's no contract, there's no NDA, there's no commitment, there's no nothing. You choose your membership, you choose how long you want to be a part of it for. You do a monthly, you're signed up for a month. You choose a quarterly, you're signed in for the quarter. You choose a year, you're signed in for the year. You want to go. Like, there's no, and like, if you got everything you need out of it, then like, that's great. We hope to continue to provide you value, to encourage you to stay, because we want to have the largest education platform we possibly can. Not the largest one in existence, but the largest one that we can. And in order to do that, we're going to keep delivering as much value as we can. But there is no commitment. There's no limitation. And if somebody pauses their account, or if somebody decides to cancel their membership, I'm still happy to talk to you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to repost your shit when you tag us. Like, we're just going to like cut you off because you decided that the education is not right for you anymore. And then if you decide to come back because you see a launch that you love, amazing. Like, there's no need to have this like all or nothing mentality, or this me versus you mentality. I didn't have an extension community ever. I've never been the person that had like a click on social media. I never had friends that I made in the extension community, literally until maybe last year, because I've always been the person that never had a lot of friends. And I have a hard time building relationships because I feel as though nobody wants to be my friend. And that's a result of obviously my growing up. But now being an adult, I'm like, you know what? And Christine was probably the first hair friend that I made. Christine and Haley Evans really were like the first people who I felt like welcomed me with open arms into their life. And now I met you, and I feel like we have this incredible group of supportive people because we don't think like that. And then I think to myself, I told no one else on the internet sees us as a clique, because I want everyone in this clique. I don't want anyone to not be a part of it because they think that we're exclusionary. I want you to see that when someone attacks one of us, we are all swarming and making sure that we're taken care of. I want you to see that when one of us is having a bad day or having a struggle, that we are supporting each other and we're not excluding people from that support. I want you to join us. I want you to become a part of our philosophy, and I want you to free yourself from the chains and the shackles that exist in our field and just be free.
And one of the things that I love about that, I actually had someone DM'd me this morning because I posted something on my story literally yesterday. They were saying that they were like, do you ever feel like you're just never going to be, or did you ever feel like you just were never going to get the hang of extensions? And I'm like, 1,000 times over, yes. And I answered the question. And then at the very bottom, I said, P.S., if you need help, just send me a DM. Like, if you got questions, just let me know. And someone DM'd me responding to that saying, thank you for putting that and like allowing people a place to just come and ask questions. And that kind of took me aback for a second. And I'm like, is that crazy? And I'm like, I guess technically it is. Cause I even had someone DM me maybe last week, and they were like, hey, can I pay you for a business call? Like, I need help. And I'm like, sure. But like, you can just like ask me, like, just same place you're DMing me, like, just ask me your question. And there was maybe like 7 to 15 minutes worth of audio. They asked me the question that I sent them back, and I'm like, that's it. Like, you didn't need to pay for a full hour call. Like, that's one of the things that I've always wanted to make sure, because I do think I can be an intimidating personality because it's big, she's loud, and I'm gonna say it. Yeah, you get it. And so like, I'm going to say whatever, but my door is literally always open. It's open if you need help. It's open if you need guidance. It's also open if you disagree with something I'm saying. If you disagree and you got to get it off your chest, cool. Send me a message. Be kind about it. You don't have to be rude, because rudeness and like disrespect I'll never tolerate, because as someone who was bullied and went through my own shit, like, that's where I now draw the line. We can disagree. Yeah, we can disagree, but you're not going to be a fucking dick to me. And I think that is like a healthy boundary.
Yep, 100%. So I'm always kind of, it strikes a chord with me when people say, I know you're so busy, thank you for responding. I'm like, this is literally what I do. Like, I am busy helping people to get better at whatever they want, right? Like, that's what I'm busy doing. I'm happy to help you. I answer my subscribers, I answer more than a method members, and I answer everybody else. Like, I do not exclude anyone. If a question, I believe, the only time that I'll recommend somebody do a coaching call where they're going to pay for the time is when I believe the answer to the question requires massive amounts of follow-up and check-ins later. Like if you're asking me about your quarterly balance sheet and your profit and loss, and you want my help to evaluate how you could be saving money in your business, well, I need to check in with you. We need to I need to see your screen. Like I need to sit down with you for 1 hour with my accountant, and we need to look at your books and say, okay, like here's where you have money leakage. Here's where where we're spending too much on Starbucks. Like here's where we're ordering out too much. Here's where we could be raising our prices. Here we could be reducing our prices. That's where I would say, okay, I think you need to pay for the time, because this is not, I can't just send you 10 audios and fix your problem, but like 99% of problems, I can send you audios and help you fix them. I feel during the day, I'm like, oh my God, I got a DM about this earlier tonight. Can you just like fill me really quick?
Mm-hmm. Well, and not only that, I know that like I get DMs because for years it's the like, oh my God, thank you for answering, which I get that a lot. But I also get the, I know you're busy and I don't want to bother you. I'm like, bother me? This is what I live for. Like, this is why I love social media, because I never shut the fuck up. Like talking to people is so hard. I had someone, oh my God, a girl DM me the other day. I don't even know what she was saying, but she literally goes, do you realize I've been sending you messages since 2018 and you've always responded? And I was like, no, because all I do is yap online. But like, are you kidding me? That? I'm like, that's actually fucking cool. It's been 7 years.
Like, what do you think I share educational content for?
Like, yeah, to talk to people like that.
I want to talk to you.
Yes.
And I know that I'm aggressive. I'm an aggressive personality just like you. I'm a lot. I curse. I'm straightforward. That's who I am. Like, one of my favorite educators is Lisa Love Balayage, because she was always like, this is the truth. Sorry if you don't like it. Like, okay, like, yeah, you're a scientist. Like, you know the truth. Thank you for sharing that with me. And I'm not going to take what you're saying as abrasive or aggressive. I'm going to take you giving me a fact as a fact. I'm going to confirm that fact on my own, make sure that it works for me. And then I'm happy you answered my question. Yeah. And she would get a lot of negative feedback in her Q&As, because people were like, well, why are you such a this? Why are you acting like that? She's like, if you don't like the fact that I didn't put a smiley face after my sentence, like, I'm so sorry. Like,
dude, I used to work for someone once, and I like periods. Period ends a sentence. It's just fucking grammar. My boss at the time told me, she was like, you need to start adding emojis to your text because like they're upsetting me. I'm like, a period upsets you? Bitch, that's wild work. I literally was like, with respect, I'm not gonna do that. This is just proper grammar. But I also
like, perception is everything. If you don't like the period, then you need to change your likes and dislikes.
Literally. And sometimes, you know what? Like, I've caught myself reading things, because I always say the tone in which you write something will not be the tone that it's read in. The tone that it's read in will be dictated by the mood of that person reading it on that day. So there have been times where I read something on my Instagram because I read every DM, I respond to every DM, I respond to every fucking comment, unless you're like a real dick, then I'm like, I'm just gonna let that slide if I know you're a troll. Like, I respond to everyone. And there have been days where I see things and I'm like, I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? And I will have to read it out loud, putting different tones on it, because I have to like check myself. Like, if I just full of piss and vinegar today and in this moment, and that's why I think you're being an asshole, or no, are you actually just being a dick? Like, I'll have to like go through. And there have been times where like, at that point also, if I cannot figure out the tone it was read in, I will screenshot it. I got to send it to a friend. Like, we got to phone a friend here, and I will literally, I send it a lot to Christine, and I'm like, hey.
She's very lovely.
How are you reading this? She's so good at it. And there have been times where she'd be like, Ani, is this rude? And I'm like, nope, I think here's the tone. And I read out loud the tone, and she'd be like, you know what? You're right. That wasn't rude at all. But sometimes like, you need that sounding board, especially when you're like us three. We are on social media so much that we're bound to interpret something incorrectly. And so like, I feel like if you can learn to catch yourself and be like, wait, I'm attaching a tone and a feeling to it. Maybe I'm the fucking problem right now. I think is also something great to have as someone who's online, but also as an educator, because sometimes you got to check yourself too. Like, it's not everybody else that's always the problem.
Totally.
I want to talk about one more rule you have in your salon. You have a no wait rule. And when you said it in class, I about pissed myself, and I'm like, this is the best fucking rule I've ever heard. You gotta explain it to the people and what that means.
Okay. So I run my business with multiple facets. I am a class size. Okay, let me say this again. I run my business with multiple different facets in mind. I am a stylist focused salon owner. So all of the rules and regulations that I put in place with our policy regarding my stylist is the way that I would have wanted it done when I was a stylist. I remind myself what it's like to be a stylist. I am a stylist in my own business that is paid as a commission-based stylist that negotiates my own rate with the business and the business's needs and what the business does. And I think that it's important that I always keep in mind what would I have wanted as a stylist to stay at a salon for a long damn time. Because if I want long-standing loyal relationships that are profitable with my staff, I need to do what they want me to do and need me to do to stay. Right? Because we can have all of our personal relationships all we want, but that doesn't keep people around. It's about making sure people are happy in their workplace. And then I am a client-focused hairstylist. Meaning they give clients what they want. Clients do not want to be aggressively sold retail, so I give retail away. I make sure that in my prices is enough profit to account for giving away retail. It just is what it is. So I have a no waiting policy in my salon. If a client waits more than 5 minutes, it is against our policy. Does it happen occasionally? Yes, like maybe twice a year. Like maybe twice a year is a client waiting for more than 5 minutes without a person touching them. So if I'm running 5 minutes behind, I'm texting the client and I'm saying, go get Starbucks, drop off your dry cleaning, pick up your laundry, run an errand, do not come here again. I am not ready. And then the client comes in 7 minutes later and there's nobody there. They're like, there's nobody here. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm just finishing. That client left. Like, you're not here to wait. You're here to get your hair done. Right. So if I have, and I stack my clients, I don't say that I double book because I never have two clients that need me at the same time. I stack my services to optimize my day so that I have an efficient revenue stream. And I know that my average hourly rate per hour of a 12-hour workday is consistent and predictable. I'll start my day with a WEX application and I will have my assistant do a keratin bond removal. And then that person will be in my chair and ready exactly when I am ready for them. And I will be finishing my stitching and trimming my thread exactly when that KTip client is ready for me. So I can switch with my assistant, my WEF client's getting blown out and styled, and my KTip client's getting started by me. In that whole mix, I will have another client getting removed, ready for their colorist, and talk to the colorist and say, I will be done in 3 hours and 15 minutes. I need that client in 3 hours and 15 minutes. And if that's not possible, then our management gets on the phone lines and says, the day is running like this. Don't come at this time. Please come earlier. If you're available to make this happen, fantastic. And we make sure that we have these crazy lines of communication, both with me and my staff, the assistant and the colorist, and with me and our management to make sure that our client experience never involves waiting.
Wow.
And my assistant, it takes them a little while to catch on to that because you really have to be able to like look around, see what's happening, and gauge, should I slow down my removal? Should I speed up my removal? How long of a shampoo do I give this client? Okay, I need to give this client a really fast extension prep blowout, or do I give them a leisurely extension prep blowout, right? Like, what am I going to do inside of this service so they are never sitting around and waiting? Because that's one of the number one complaints of clients is waiting and then barriers to their appointment. So we want to always be reducing their wait time, never pushing retail, and we always want to be removing as many barriers as possible. People want open lines of communication with their service providers, and we have a texting line for that. Like, by removing barriers, never pushing retail, never upselling a service, never doing add-ons. Add-ons are also against our salon policy. We do not add conditioning treatments. We do not add any extra add-on services ever. The client comes in, they receive the service that they got. They are given a package price for that service, and that is that. We have never had an opposition to any of this because that's what clients request, and that's what we give them.
That's fucking amazing. As someone, my eyes bugged out when you said remove barriers because, I won't even speak about myself as a stylist, as a client. If you are making me jump through hoops to give money to you, because I'm one of those clients. I always say I'm the client people want. I am loyal and I tip really fucking well. I will never argue over pricing because by the time I'm to you, I trust you, I love you. Let's fucking go. Like, let's do it. If you make me jump through hoops to give you money, then I'm immediately out. if I have to click on the link in bio and then fill out a form and then wait 4 to 7 business days for you to get back to me, and then you eventually get back to me, and then we have to have a consultation. And you know what? At that point, you're obviously a little too busy for me, and not too busy, but like you're busy, baby, and I support you. I just want to text someone because I also, honestly, I'm borderline antisocial. I'm an introvert by nature. I don't want to have to talk to people. Let me shoot you a text and say, yo, when can you get me in? And you just tell me. And that is all that I want as a consumer. And I hired a business coach and a mentor last year and this year. Last year, I paid her probably like $16,000. And this year it's going to be about $23,000. You know how much shit I had to fill out? Fuck all of nothing. Zip, zero, zilch. I found
Because she fills it out. I'm assuming it's a woman.
Yeah, it's a woman. Yeah, she did everything. Like, I didn't have to do shit. I found her on Instagram. I saw what she offered. I became intrigued. I DM'd her and I was like, I have some questions. She was like, ask away. And I was like, this is crazy.
No barrier.
No barrier. She audioed me. We texted, we giggled, we did all the things. And she's like, hey, here's a quick sheet of what's involved. And here's a Loom video if you want to watch it. But if you have any more questions, let me know. She left it all up to me like that. And now here we are almost $40,000 later. And I can't imagine not hiring her once a year because I'm so obsessed with her. And it's such the best experience I've ever had. But the barrier to her was nothing, which is funny because turns out she only takes on like 2-3 clients a year. And I just had me one in both years. But like, even knowing there's minimal people that are accepted because she's crushes her whole life. She's amazing. She didn't make me fill out 500 fucking forms and then do an interview. If you're making me do an interview to see if you want me as a client, I don't fucking want you either.
And I'm a huge handbag collector, and I always relate our industry to handbags because the client who wants to spend $20,000 on a handbag is the same client who's comfortable spending $4,000 on their hair. It's the same client, whether it's the same exact person, it's the same category of person, same category of shopper, I should say. So it's not about how much money people have, it's about how much money people are comfortable spending. So this is not about like rich people. This is about comfortability and emotional attachment to money. So I always say, I text my Ironman sales associate. I'm like, hey, here's my wish list for the year. Here's what I want to purchase. Let me know what's available. He sends me a link. I buy it. It's at my house the next day. Like when a bag is available, that's like a more, exclusive bag. He's like, hey, I need you here. I'm like, can you get here today? I'm like, absolutely. What time works? He's like, for this, anytime works, come whenever you want. I'll clear my schedule. I'm taking it to a private room. I'm showing the bag. I make the purchase. Shut. Like these things are quick. They're easy. They're snappy. There's no barrier. I have a direct line to my sales associate at all times. I don't have to call the store to get in touch. Like it's a very, very easy process. And that experience has actually informed a lot of what we do in my salon. Is like, if my sales associate is running late, he's like, hey, I'm in a bag appointment. It's going a little bit longer. Do you mind coming in 45 minutes? I'm like, you know what? No problem. I'll go shopping at Goyard next door. Like, I'm not worried about that. I don't want to show up and wait. And it's just like a hotel. Like, they tell you check-in is at 2.
Mm-hmm.
Don't show up at 1. Check-in is at 2. And if the room is not ready, they're giving me another room that's better for that night because my room wasn't ready. And I have experience. It was at the Surrey Hotel, actually. And I went to check out at 12, and they were like, oh, just so you know, like, we don't have a checkout time. And I was like, what? They were like, we don't have a checkout time. Like, what time do you need a room until? I was like, well, do you care if I keep my bags in the room till 6? They were like, you can literally stay here until 9 p.m. But as long as you don't sleep here, you don't pay for the night. Okay. And it was a $2,500 a night room. But like, that's the same experience I give. It was $2,500 for the night. I'm $2,500 for 2 hours.
You know what? That's fair. My husband is with Marriott Bonvoy. He is like the highest ambassador, elite, blah, blah. And let me tell you, when my flight got canceled in Raleigh heading home to Denver, they're like, you get a free hotel. I'm like, fuck it, it's one night. I walked in, I started crying, and my husband called and he's like, get back in the Uber. You are not staying there. And he immediately called one of the Marriott hotels because the minute they see his status, it is red fucking carpet. I walked in there like, your goodie bag is in your room. You can take any of the snacks you need. They're free for me. Like, they're free. Go ahead and take them. Toothbrush, toothpaste, everything. And I was like, that is the thing that spoils me. But it's so funny. Like, bags, I couldn't care less about. But am I willing to spend $500, $1,000 on a singular book? Yes, I am. Would some people think that that is psychotic, atrocious behavior? Yes, they would. But have I done it so many times? Yes, I have. Because that, to me, a bag, honestly, I think my most expensive is like Alexander McQueen when I turned 30. And I just was like, I just love him. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And now I'm like,
They said,
where even is that bag? Like, it's somewhere in my closet, but it's fine. But like, the books, to me, that's what holds the most value. So I totally agree. Make things easy, don't make it hard, and then just let me give you money. I will pay.
Clients go to path of least resistance. Clients will always go to the path of least resistance, especially when they're spending a lot of money. Clients are like water, right? Like if they want to get to that end result, they are going to spend the money to get there, whether they have to go this way or that way. And they're going to go whichever way is the most direct, easiest, and fastest. I always say the luxury client wants to know, when can you do it? How much will it cost? And how long will it take? And they're not asking you how much it costs so that they could say no. They're asking you how much it costs so that they can bring cash. Like,
that's it.
they're asking how much it costs to make sure that they bring the credit card that is ready to go, right? Like, right? They're bringing the credit card that gives them the most rewards. So, like, if you are able to make sure that those three things are easy and available, that's why I don't believe in non-transparent pricing. Transparent pricing makes the client journey easier and faster. It leads out people who are not comfortable with your pricing, and it gets people in who are comfortable, right? Like, give them the price before. There's no reason not to. If somebody sits in my chair and they're not comfortable spending $2,000, I do not want to try and convince them to spend $2,000 because that's a shitty thing to do. I don't want somebody to do that to me. I just presented a bag once that was $62,000, and I was like, I really don't want a $62,000 bag. I really came here looking to spend $22,000, and they were like, okay, great.
And both of those numbers, I'm like, I support you. Like, that's
right. And same thing with cars. I can give this as the car example. I just got a new car in December, and I was like, when I was shown vehicles, I was not shown vehicles that were outside of my budget because the pricing is transparent, and I made it very clear to my sales associate, this is the budget that I'm looking for monthly, and that's what he showed me. Same thing with my consultations. If somebody tells me I'm comfortable spending around $2,500, I'm not going to show them a $3,000 option.
No.
I still want the $2,500. So I'm going to show them that I'm going to make the sale, and I'm going to have that revenue enter my business, have a long-standing, loyal, transparent relationship with that client. I'm going to make them happy.
Yep. And you know what? When I was living in California, I went to Mercedes. I wanted a G-Wagon. And it was interesting because you've seen me. I'm a very small human, and I can recognize that I do look very young, but I am a whole grown-ass adult. And I went with my husband. We were dating at the time, and the sales guy didn't want to look at me. He didn't want to talk to me, to the point where my boyfriend looked at him and goes, I need to be clear. She's the one you need to speak to because she's buying this car. I couldn't even afford this car. And the guy was kind of like, and looked at me, said one sentence to me, and then went back to speaking to him. And I said, you know what? We're going to go. Because if for some reason, because I'm so teeny tiny little and I look so young, you think that my money isn't my money doesn't work. So I'm going to tell you now it does. And
my money isn't green enough.
And let me tell you, my money's fucking green, bitch. And I was ready to be like, let's take this one. It can go with me today. And because he was honestly such a raging cunt, I was like, not only is the G-Wagon, I'm done with it. I'm fucking done with like that. Blew the entire like brand out for me. And now I'm like, never again will I do that. Like,
yep.
I'm done.
And that was a respect thing. That's another barrier. Respect is a barrier. And if we don't respect our clients and we're not transparent and honest and likable and respectful to them, then we are not going to make the sale. We're not going to have that long-standing loyal client relationship. They ruined it with you. I had a similar experience once, and I had walked in to a furniture store, and you know me and my furniture also. I love my furniture, and my furniture is like art. I collect furniture from the 60s, the 70s. I collect furniture from high designer brands. I just got a Philly chair and two Barcelona chairs that were designed by Mies van der Rohe in 1970. And I was like, I can't believe I found originals. This is amazing. I just got them. And those barriers and that respect factor ruined my relationship with one furniture store because I walked in and they said, you know, this is high-end furniture, right? And I was like, okay, first of all, we don't judge a book by its cover ever. That's not respectful. Also, I walked up in this bitch with a $17,000 handbag and $4,000 shoes and a 6-carat diamond. Do not say that to me. First of all, you're judging the wrong person. You've misjudged. Second, you should never judge.
Holy shit. And it's one of
this is high-end furniture, right? And it's like, actually, in my opinion, this is
low.
average furniture and I'm looking for an accent table.
So go fuck yourself. And you know what's so crazy to
So
me?
go
It's
fuck
like,
yourself.
I'm not gonna buy shit from you, bitch. It's like one of those things where like because I don't really care about brands, like that's just not my thing. Like I'm telling you,
Yeah.
if it's books, like I will spend anything on books and animals. Like how much does a mini Highland cow cost? Give me 14. Like I'm fucking down for that. Like that's where I will throw money at. So I
Yeah.
can also acknowledge, like, to be honest, if someone walked in with like an Hermes bag, I don't think I could clock it. I know in general that they look like I know.
I'm going to collab a carousel with you, and it's going to be a joke about how to judge a client when they walk in. Do you see this bag? They are rich. Do you see this bag? They are less rich. Do you see this? And it's going to be a joke. I'm going to see how much shit we can get for it. I'm,
Because the
I'm
bag.
going to do like a picture of the back of my 3 cars and be like, this car is the most expensive. If you see this one pull up, you know that you have somebody who's going to spend money. This person might spend less. Offer them cheaper repair. And I'll
You are gonna get shit on so bad. And do you know
the
what's so
world
funny?
like one.
Literally, like, what even bag am I using right now? I'm pretty sure I got it off TikTok because it's checkerboard and I thought it was so cute.
Well,
And
I
like,
mean, this is awning.
this me. But even like
Yeah.
if you see my car, yes, we can I have a massive Bronco. We can acknowledge that it's a good car. But also if you
Yeah.
look at it, you're like, bitch, there's more mud on it than car. I'm like, yeah. Doesn't mean I don't have money to spend though. Like I'm one of those
And the back seat of my S588 Mercedes is filled with Starbucks garbage.
But that is so what I was gonna say. So I'm one of those that I can also recognize if someone stood in front of me with the most expensive shit, I wouldn't be able to clock it because I don't care. Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that I'm gonna treat someone like shit. And there are also some brands that I can clock very easy. Like obviously
Yeah.
there's some that just very everybody knows, blah blah blah. But then there's some that I'm like, that's so expensive that it's so far even out of the realm of me understanding how expensive that is.
And that was always my goal. If I want to be part of the crew, and guess what? Now that I have money, I'm still not part of the crew.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, we're coming to the end of the episode. So, 2 things. Number 1, where can people find you if they love you? Because they obviously will. But where can they find you, talk to you, all the things?
So you can always get me directly on Instagram at AlexJDBeauty. I have a subscription on Instagram where I have like tidbits, tips, and tricks that I do daily or weekly Q&As on there. It's $20 a month. It's a fantastic investment. I'm also available on More Than a Method, which is where I have my extended long format online education on KTips that are launching all the time. You can also get our in-person education, which launches usually quarterly through More Than a Method. They sell out in like 2 days. If you're interested in coming, get on the wait list. And those are, I think, the 3 places you can get me.
I love
Yes,
that.
they are.
I will be sure to,
Those are
like,
my three places.
you're like, I nailed it. So I will be sure to literally link everything under the YouTube video and I'll have it like in the caption as well. So then one last thing, if you were to give a piece of advice to a stylist, what is like your favorite piece of advice to give?
My favorite piece of advice to a stylist is be authentic all the time. Because the more authentic you are, the easier it is to live. And the more people will love you. And in turn, the happier your entire life will be. And this relationship that you and I have is an example of that. Because me being more authentic has attracted you and I to each other. And you being authentically yourself has attracted me to you. And the relationship that we have is so valuable to me because of that level of authenticity that we're able to have with each other. So be authentic all the time.
I love that. And I'll add one more thing before we go. You're never too weird.
You are never too fucking weird. I'm fucking weird ass. And I have a multi-million-dollar company. And it doesn't fucking matter because people love me. People don't like fakers. People love real people. And real people inspire other people to be themselves, and it's liberating. And I hope that by me being a fucking weird ass at all times inspires you to be the weirdest fucking version of yourself, and you get to liberate others. And the more we get to liberate people to be their weird fucking selves, the happier we get to be, and the bigger of a community of fucking weirdos we get to have.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here. I feel like I'm gonna have to have you on again because we could talk for like fucking hours. Me, you, and Christine have to do one, but that would be a 45-hour long episode.
Yes. Let's do it. I appreciate you having me so, so much. This is truly an honor and it is my pleasure. And I cannot wait to do it again.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here on another episode of Mourning Tea. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
So long.